Welcome back to the We Are Rockwood podcast. We're at Wilk Production Studios in downtown Rockwood. I'm Brian Matthews, and my co-host is Leanne Malacote. And Leanne, I'm going to turn it over to you to tell us about our veteran this week.
To service, okay. Today we want to recognize Sergeant Ralph D. Brown. He is a Rockwood High School graduate, and along several other members of his class, he joined the National Guard. Soon after that, he was deployed and he served in Korea. So we want to thank Sergeant Brown for his service to our country and to our community, and also thank Roan Land Surveying for sponsoring this Salute to Service moment. Okay. Will you introduce our guest?
And we are joined by Tony Brown, class of 69, that we have heard a lot about.
Yes, yeah. Favorite of the teachers. Favorite class.
That was because of me.
Well, your name was mentioned quite a bit.
Miss Wallach and Miss Willis both mentioned your name.
Somebody else, yes. But anyway.
Now, you all have to help me through this. I'm awful bashful, and I've never done anything like this before. So.
Yes,
we're well aware.
We're concerned. Before we start talking about your class of 69 and all those escapades, your daddy was our salute to service. So, when did he graduated high school? Do you know?
He did not graduate because of the Korean conflict. He and a bunch of his buddies decided that they thought it would be really cool if, join the National Guard. And of course, his mother's house was at the entrance to the National Guard.
Yes.
Granny Kate lived on the left-hand side, and Uncle Wade and Carlene lived on the other side. So that was in between. So they thought they got together as boys do, and one day, I guess it's standing around the smoking tree that we used to have at the high school, and said, let's go join the National Guard. They pay like $30 a month or something. So a bunch of them, Shug Brazel and a bunch of them, they joined the National Guard. Well, they didn't know as youngsters that meant that you could be deployed somewhere. So about 4 or 5 months, that was in early '50. So a few months later, the Korean conflict occurred. They shipped half of the National Guard from Rockwood out to Greenland, and the other half went to Korea. And they marched them from the National Guard Armory to downtown and put them on a train and sent them to camp, and then they were deployed. So I came along. He got a leave of absence. I'm born on Christmas Day of 1950, so he got to come home during my birth and spoiled Christmas dinner for him, because I was born about 5 minutes after 1, right when they were getting ready to sit down. But he was a proud veteran, passed away 2 years ago in December, and my mother still lives here in Rockwood, and she graduated from Rockwood. She was a cheerleader. Dad was a football player. So fond memories back then of what I have.
And a lot of people know your parents well. They were very much in the public, and throughout the podcast we'll be talking a little bit more about them. Let's talk about that class of 1969.
Golly.
Was it famous or infamous?
I don't know. Probably a little bit of both. Everybody thinks their class is the best, and I'm sure when you interview people, they will say that. But I will truly say that the class of 1969 from Rockwood High School we mingled so well. And we weren't boyfriends and girlfriends. We were me and you. You know, one did something, we all did something, and we were so close, and still pretty close. We've had several that have passed on, but you know, if we decided we were going to do something, we would do it. The teachers knew it, and I think they were kind of on guard. Well, you have to be careful of this one and this one and this one, because if they start something, they're going to finish it. We started some good stuff and maybe some bad stuff along the way, but I think we will go down as one of the hardest working classes and the most fun class to be around.
Well, the teachers that we've Miss Wallach and Miss Willis, people that were working in the schools during that time, you know, make that claim as well. Your class create a mascot costume, raise money, won carnival year after year, either carnival or homecoming, for years. I mean, so these people are still talking about that class of '69 and how energetic and ambitious you guys were.
Well, you know, talking about the mascot and stuff, we made a big paper mache tiger that must have been 3 or 4 foot long and 2 or 3 foot high that sat in the old gym up over where you went downstairs to the dressing room. It sat up there forever and ever. And we made that down at Peggy Melton's house down next to the fort, or to the sports complex. And I know that her mother was a school teacher, and I know that she didn't want to put up with all these kids after she got off, but we'd head down there every day after school around 5 o'clock to work on that thing. If you've ever worked with paper mache, what a mess! You know, what were we thinking? So then we went on and we raised a little money. We could raise more money than anybody. I'll tell you.
We've heard about the donut sales.
Oh, donut sales, yeah. Miss Willis and her van. But we made enough money off a fundraiser that we purchased the first ever a costume.
Yeah.
And now a costume probably costs $2,000 or $3,000. You know, I think we gave a couple $100 for it, and they were fighting over who would get to dress up. Well, I did it once, and that was all. It was too hot for me. Yeah, I said I don't want no more of that. So we did that. But you mentioned the carnival. We had I don't guess they even have that anymore, but the king and queen of the fall carnival, we won that every 4 years.
Were you ever the king?
I was, in my junior year.
Who was your queen?
Glenda Redmond.
Okay.
And she passed away last year, but she was a raider. And me and her were rivals. And she rode my yard one night, and I rode her yard the same night. We didn't know it, but we were going back and forth. And back then, you know, we would go to all the gas stations. Had a gas station on every corner, and we would steal all. Is that right? Is that appropriate to say we stole? We borrowed.
It's the truth.
We borrowed all the toilet paper and went out and rolled everybody's yards. We got smart. One time we didn't have any toilet paper left, so we were going to go do something to a yard. And Mr. Osborne was a teacher. And we poured gasoline in his yard, and we wrote our names. Little did we know that the gasoline would kill the grass, and 3 days later you could tell who had been there. So that wasn't very good. But Miss Willis, she was one of our sponsors. Miss Eagle, Miss Mary Kirkham, Steve's mother. Golly, what mean teachers they were. Miss Willis is the only one that ever paddled me. She was left-handed, and she lifted, you know, she had that left-handed golf swing because she was a great golfer.
Our last guest
was
also got paddled by Miss Willis.
Yeah, well, she was the designated paddler.
Yeah. And then he played golf with her that afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, go ahead, sorry.
But she lifted. You only gave me 3 licks, but I got more licks when I got home. But she lifted me up off the ground. But she was one of our very best. She had an old van. Of course, she was a farmer and had chickens and ducks, and we thought that was grand. But we had a donut sale and got in the middle of Gateway and trying to sell those donuts. Wonder we all hadn't got run over. But we sold more donuts, and they just had a thing at the Presbyterian Church where she turned 100 this year. So we went up to a reception of it, and she remembered me. even though I have changed a lot. But what really brought it to light was that I gave her a dozen Krispy Kreme donuts.
Oh, that's so perfect.
That's what I got. But our fundraisers that we had, that we raised money, let me just tell you some of the things that we creatively did. Of course, Mother and Daddy had Ralph's Drive-In.
Yeah.
If you didn't go to Ralph's, you weren't part of the clique. I mean,
Right.
but we set up in the middle of Gateway and waved cars down and took up money like a roadblock. Now, we didn't do it at the traffic light. We did it in the middle of Gateway so that we had to stop it. So we did that.
So you held them hostage?
Yeah. We did the donut sale. We had pony rides. Next door to the drive-in was an empty field that Noah Marsh owned.
Okay.
That's what you were talking about.
Where the skating
She was
rink used to
talking
always
about
go
that.
there. Now, he had an old carnival thing that he built himself that was a merry-go-round swings that go around and around, and he had little ponies. Well, we went over, and he said, yeah. I said, my ponies, I won't have to bring them in. So Teresa Jean, Paula Hubbard, Mike Holloway, and I all had horses. And that's another story. Whew. But we had horse rides and raised money. But I think the very best one that we had was that we got in the insurance business.
Insurance.
And we sold insurance to all the merchants at Halloween time. We gave them and wrote out a little policy, charged them, I don't remember, $1 or $2, $5 maybe, that their windows, back then windows used to get soaked.
Okay.
You'd soak the windows. So Bernard's, Live and Let Live, J.C. Penney's, the men's store. This was, I think this building we're in now, I think it may have been a jewelry store. It may have been Wright's Jewelry. It may have been right next door.
I don't know if it was this one or this was a fabric store.
Yeah, but E.T. Ingram's place was up. But anyway, we'd sell them a policy that we'd guarantee you that their windows wouldn't get soaked. Well, needless to say, if you didn't buy our insurance, your windows got soaked. And then we had a service that we'd go clean them. So that was kind of creative, but
I love it.
I think that's the definition of illegal, but it works.
yeah. But we had an open campus during lunch, and we would all come to the Presbyterian Church across the street, and they had what they called the den, which was downstairs, and they had hot dogs and Cokes and potato chips. And everybody would either go there.
That is my favorite meal.
Yeah, everybody would either go there, or up here on the end, there was a bakery, and it was Mary Mirth out of Harriman, who had an extension down here, and you could get a cream, caramel cream donut-like thing for 6 cents. So we'd come down there. But I was big in high school. Mother and Daddy got the drive-in, I guess that was in 64, 65. And I had eaten so many hamburgers and stuff that I didn't want. I wanted to stay in the lunchroom and have real food, So a lot of times I stayed up there. But we would always go as a group. Again, the smoking tree around back. We'd all go take a break around the smoking tree. We thought it was cool to
Where
smoke.
was the smoking tree? When I was in school, there was just the doorway.
porch.
Yeah.
Everybody went on the porch.
Well, where the band room's at now, if you go toward the ticket taking up booth, it was right in the middle.
Okay. By
And
the
there was
baseball
parking.
field?
Well, the baseball field would have been where the woodworking shop's at now.
Okay.
But it was just right in the middle. A big old oak tree was just right in the middle, and that's where everybody, nobody said nothing. We even carried guns. I mean, the rifles and stuff. I can remember Coach Pemberton and Coach Jim Barnes. All you boys bring your rifles because hunting season starts tomorrow, and we're going to clean rifles as part of PE. So we'd get to take our rifles to school. Golly, we'd go to prison now, wouldn't we?
Oh, God.
Leanne,
That teacher would for sure. Oh.
Did you ever have your kids clean rifles in school?
No.
But
Wow.
we used to let ducks loose in the hallway. Deb Strader and Kathy Strader lived across the street there in the little next to 2 doors up from the Presbyterian Street, next to where Chief Strader, he was chief of police here for years. And they had ducks, and we'd go catch their ducks, and we'd turn them loose in the hallways. So. But we started out going to school in the old, before it was torn down, and we had a shop class underneath, and they built the neatest boats. That would, once a year, they would start at the beginning of the season, they'd build a wooden boat. And then they would sell it to pay for
Oh,
it.
that is amazing.
Yeah. Remember, that was a 3-story school.
Yeah.
And you'd go up and down. And so, some of the teachers, Miss Lane, she was in that old building, Miss Hood. golly, there's just, I hate to start mentioning them because I'll miss one. They were all so good. And they all liked me. I was probably the cut up of that got stuff started.
I don't believe that.
I was voted School Spirit Award, and believe it or not, Brian, I was voted I got the Young Republican Award.
That's right. Remember?
Good for you. Congratulations.
I think I have a picture of you wearing a MAGA hat somewhere.
But you know, Dad was he was on the first big, which I'll call big city council. He led the ticket. He was the vice mayor and served 2 terms, and that's before we had Mayor Simmons and 2 councilmen. So Dad ran, and we had a school board back then. Maurice Grief was on the school board.
We were up with city schools.
And that was in '68 when they all ran. So they all liked me because that was all new. We had our own school board, had our own city council. So, you know, tell your dad this or tell your dad that, or, you know, something like that. But such fond memories. The only bad part about it, I had to go to Kingston, move to Kingston, to find somebody who'd put up with me. So
you married a Kingston girl?
Married a Kingston girl.
Jenny Brown was one of the
Jenny
best.
Brown was the best. She passed away 2 years ago. We'd been married for 47 years.
Wow.
She had the best taste in music.
Yeah.
Yeah?
But we always, she loved going to the beach. And we went to the same place in Panama City Beach for 24 years straight.
Now ask him how long they'd stayed. When you talk about going to the beach, they don't go for a week.
Yeah, we'd go for a month at a time, you know.
Wow.
Well, this last time we were going to,
that's lovely.
we were going down to try to find a condo and to buy so we could go more often. And there was a tornado the day before she passed, and we were nosy. Believe that. Wanted to go out and look. Well, she started feeling bad that night, and I found her in the bedroom, and she'd died. I'd like to have never got her back out of.
It was
her spirit that she wanted to stay on the beach. We had to prolong her funeral. It took us a week to get her out of Florida. Had to fly her in, and again, she didn't want to leave. That's the first time that they shut down McGee Tyson Airport. Her flight, where they flew her back, the funeral home couldn't go down there because of the roads. Like I said, it was during that ice storm that they closed the airport down. Her flight came in at 5 after 7. They shut the airport down at 7:30. It took Kikers 3 hours to get from there to Kingston. But she was part of the old RoanSports.com.
Oh, yeah. Jenny Brown's amazing.
BBB Communications and all that kind of stuff. But you know, golly, such memories. I could talk forever and ever and ever. And that's what we do when we get together with our class reunion, is that Pat Clifton, Teresa Jean, Sheila Lemons, Eddie Grief across the street, Becky Farmer, whose health is not good right now. But
was Ted Cooley in that
Ted
class?
Cooley, you know, he moved on. Ted and I were the big dogs. Me and him, Johnny Easter. We went to Bernard's one time and thought this was cool, better than pinto beans and cornbread. We bought a corduroy brown jacket and had our initials put on it.
Nice.
And me and Ted and Johnny had one of them. Now you talking about
you were the stuff.
You talking about walking up and down the classroom with our freshman girlfriend. Yeah, with our freshman girlfriend.
And your corduroy
monogram jacket.
Yeah. Oh man. Okay. You know, don't know if it fit or not. Maurice would make sure it fit in the shop. So when I got home, it may not fit as good because he'd be.
Yes, he was holding on for dear life. Yes.
But you know, we went through so much, and I see these things on Facebook. And by the way, Facebook is the devil. It's the devil. But I read everything that's on it. But,
our link to this podcast is on Facebook.
Yeah. I've got y'all favorite, and with my little icon on my cell phone.
There's some good on Facebook.
But we went through so much. Just some of the things that that we went through that none of these kids nowadays will ever get to experience.
Yes.
Walk on the moon. Segregation. John F. Kennedy, Robert Kennedy, Martin Luther King. Those people in my lifehood, assassinated, served. I can remember in 64, I guess it was 65, when they shut down Campbell High School. And, you know, tensions were so bad everywhere else. They were rioting in the streets in Michigan and everywhere in Chicago. We didn't have any of that here. The day they shut Campbell High School down, if you will, the white kids were probably more scared than the black kids because they told us, be nice, do this, do that. But I can remember being outside and watching. They walked from Campbell High School to the high school.
Oh.
And here they come. Oh man, you talk about scared to death. But we meshed so well. And one of the reasons was we found out that Stuart Seiler could dunk the basketball. Man,
Yes.
we've never seen anything like that, So we went out and had good relationships back then. Again, it's just we just worked so well together. And every now and then we had a protest that we didn't like. We didn't like the Booster Club. Everybody belonged to the Booster Club. So our senior year, we started.
So that wasn't a racial thing.
No. Everybody got through the racial stuff after that. We forgot all about that.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
So what did the Booster Club do to cause problems?
I don't remember. But we started a club called the Senior Spirit Club.
Okay.
And I was the president, and Ted was the vice president, and all the clique. We were all the officers. And in the annual, you'll see a picture of us in front of my car that the other guest Boris was talking about, the Chevelle that I was a hot rod car. My daddy wasn't. I just got to drive them. But and Ted Cooley's orange Volkswagen. So here we are. We got our monogram shirt on like this. And so Miss Hegel was the sponsor of the Booster Club. She got mad at us because we started our own, and that's when Miss Willis came in and helped with it. But we didn't like it. And I'll never forget, too, the drive-in, Ralph's Drive-In was closed on Wednesdays. They worked every other day but Wednesdays. And something happened. There was a fight or something. It didn't make any difference. Something happened that we didn't like. So we decided we were going to have a walkout of school. Never forget it, on a Wednesday. Me and Ted and Johnny, and Sam Howard, he's passed on. He was our class president. But we started talking amongst the people about, we don't like what Mr. Culverhouse has done. I don't like it either. What are we going to do about it? Let's just walk out. Okay, what time? Well, when the bell rings at third period at 10:30, 11 o'clock, before lunch, let's walk out. That bell rung and every senior in the high school hit the outside. J.C. Smith, Mr. Culverhouse, after it's all over, called me and Cooley in to the office. And J.C., I'll never forget this. He said, Tony Brown, you will never amount to anything. I said, I'm just telling you, the way your attitude is and the way you think you're better than everybody else, you'll never amount to nothing. You'll be in prison. I said, okay. I didn't bother me. But then said, we're calling your daddies. I thought, oh, no. You got to bear in mind, it's on Wednesday.
Yes,
Daddy's off. Ted's in there. We look out the door, and here comes Pope Cooley, and here comes Ralph Brown. And, I know, I just remembered what it was. They didn't want us, we were coming to school without belts.
Dress code.
Dress code. And they said we had to have some kind of support for our pants. Now, we didn't drop pants like they do nowadays. So we got smart and we got suspenders. That's what caused it. So they said, all right, we're going to do something to you.
I don't know much about the fashion sense for the class of '69 with the brown corduroy and the suspenders.
The suspenders. But I'm telling you what, when we saw Polk and Ralph coming through that sidewalk, coming inside, oh, man. You talking about getting wore out when I got home. Ted, Polk was a boxer, and I think he may have boxed Ted a couple of times. So. But needless to say, we never walked out after that. We were more respectful.
And did you
to the
start
principal.
wearing your belts?
And we start wearing our belts, but the belt was almost worn out. Because I think that was one that he used on me when I went home. So. But Ralph's Drive-In, I've talked to so many people these days that, I met my wife, I met my girlfriend at Ralph's. We used to drive around and we'd go to I didn't get to drive much because I had to work curb. Mm-hmm. And they called me curb boy and whistle britches and gave me all kind of names. But I had the best looking car of anybody in high school. I had a 396 Chevelle Super Sport, 396 360, red, black interior with those mag wheels on it.
Yes.
And everybody wanted to ride with it, But I had to work curb because he didn't pay us.
Yeah.
We had to work. And
So you didn't get to do the riding around thing.
not much, but I sure wore it out when I was
the
allowed
Ralphs
to.
was part of the circuit.
Yeah,
for us
we'd
that
go
got
to the
ride
Beacon.
with.
We'd go to the Beacon in Harriman, and the Bounty in Midtown Kingston now. And the Bounty, what made it so unique, it had pit trampolines in the back.
I don't know that.
And they were level, and they dug like a 3-foot deep deals, and then put the trampoline.
This was in Midtown?
Yeah, the old Bounty Drive-In where Lowe's is at now.
Because they didn't have a swimming pool while she wasn't
Yeah,
there.
fine,
and one time Sputnik was going over, and they had a PA system. Ladies and gentlemen, if you'd please look to the sky to the northwest, you will see Sputnik. And sure enough, there goes that little speck, Russian satellite going over Midtown. But we'd make those curves. And the best thing about going to the Beacon in Harriman was you went behind it, and their exhaust fan pulled all that grease and stuff out next to the road. Well, you could spin your tires back there. Really good. So they put speed bumps back there because that's what we all did. But you could get back there and it would echo, brum, 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 brum. Rev your motor up, and we'd turn the breathers upside down and all that kind of stuff. Drill holes in our mufflers so it'd sound good. But we'd do that. We'd run back down to Ralph's and go to Archie's and Parkway. A lot of people talk about Parkway. Back in those days, it wasn't
down on
there.
that end.
Yeah, it wasn't there then.
Yeah.
So
It was never a Ralph's.
yeah,
Ralph's was the best.
But things have changed. You get coffee for a dime. Hamburgers were 25 cents. Cheeseburgers were 30. French fries were 25. Fish sandwich was 40. You got 21 pieces of shrimp, French fries, coleslaw, and a roll for $1.25. And that's those good days. Peabody Ledford came in one time and told Daddy, he said, "Hey, Ralph, I've got Big Wolf Radio. I want to sell you some advertising." And Daddy was in there, and I won't say what he said, but he was flipping them little hamburgers. They were a dime. Flipping them little hamburgers, sweat running, whew. Restaurant business is hard work. Oh, yeah. And his all family. But Peabody got right in there next to Ralph, next to the grill, and he was going to say, "Tell you what you do," said, "you sell your fish sandwiches for 25 cents, and said, I'll make your business so good." Daddy asked him, "Peabody, how much is this every time?" $50. He said, "Pull that $50 here. Now get out here. I've got more business than I can stand." He said, "I don't need anybody ordering a darn fish sandwich."
Oh, that's funny. Your family was in the food industry. I remember when Mary and Ralph had something there on Front Street, a little restaurant or cafeteria.
Well, they've retired more than anybody I've ever seen.
You're one to talk.
Daddy started out selling insurance, and Mother stayed at home. She was big in the First Baptist Church with the GAs and Sunday school teaching, so her life was basically there with the church a lot of times. But
she cooked a lot there too.
Yeah, but they had the drive-in, and they left and went to had the place on Front Street there next to Kofer's, where it's at there now, and had cafeteria style. Didn't advertise, absolutely completely full every single day. And it was cooking, pinto beans and cornbread, turkey dressing, fish on Fridays. And, you could eat for $2 or something.
It was delicious.
After about 5 or 6 years, they went on vacation and said, why do we want to go back down there? Why do we want to work for them? Then she went to work at the school.
The best.
And she was the
best
It was so good.
She was the first cook that the middle school had. And there were restaurants in town that complained.
Yes,
because everybody would go there to eat.
The businessmen would come to the middle school cafeteria to eat. And I was teaching at the high school. I'd sneak out
and
go down to middle school to eat.
I was in that first class, and I never ate at Ridgeview. Packed my lunch because it was And then you got to the middle school, and it was like,
so
this is a game changer.
And you know, if she liked you, she took care of you.
Yes.
Or not, she liked everybody,
She liked
but
everybody.
there were
Yes.
some that were her pets that she was. But nobody ever made homemade potato rolls.
No.
But you know, all of the central staff, like I say, all the business people, everybody would come to the middle school, especially for holidays, for Thanksgiving and Christmas.
Oh my gosh, her turkey! Oh my
crazy.
gosh,
You know,
the best.
She would bring things from home. Like
Yes.
did she grow tomatoes? It seems like she
No,
would bring
tomatoes and
tomatoes from
potatoes,
home
yeah.
to the cafeteria
and made
because
the
they were
best
better.
best coconut pies and peanut butter pies.
The peanut butter pie was
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
best.
And you know,
She's
she's 94, and her sight is not real good right now, and she can't cook, and that's the only thing she regrets about getting old. She prays every day for God to tell her what she's supposed to do because she has outlived. She's ready to go see Ralph. So every time my phone rings, I think, oh no, is this the call? But bless her heart, a little white-headed woman, weighs about 85 pounds, and mine's is good. She can still go back and talk about her days in school and her family.
She's a wonderful person. And they weren't born the same year, but her and my mom were both January 8th babies.
Yeah.
So I know your mother's birthday.
Born
I
with
remember
Elvis.
Elvis shares that same birthday.
That's right. That's how we remember. But she came from a big family, and they were in the restaurant business too.
So, yeah, let's talk about the Heidels and the big famous restaurant.
Okay, the Heidels.
I mean, they've opened up one restaurant we probably heard of.
Yeah, my grandmother and grandfather were Albert and Laura. He never drove; she always drove. But they had little restaurants. You know where Billings was at, past the Coca-Cola company, that little court there. They ran that for a while. Where Glen Hills is at now, there used to be a restaurant there. They ran that for a while, and so they moved to Glen Alice, and Mother and Daddy eventually bought the farm, and I bought the old homestead place that we all, and my sister Sissy, who was a highway patrolman, they all moved down there. But you know, my mother had Uncle Bill, Uncle Henry, Aunt Fanny, Bones, or Kenneth that we talked about a while ago, and then Mary, and Bones is the youngest. And all of those have passed with the exception of Bones and of course Mary. But Bill is the one that you want me to talk about. He was in Atlanta. He had two sons, Rick and Steve, and he was a business machine salesman. And he would make runs into Tennessee, and a gentleman down there wanted him to go into the insurance business, said, we're wanting to expand to Tennessee. And said, would you be, oh no, don't know anything about insurance. Said, I know about copiers and them old crank handle mimeograph machines, you know that piece of paper. But anyway, he came and stayed with the insurance company, and he was the first state director for a company called American Family Life Insurance Company. With
Aflac?
Aflac.
Yeah.
That's exactly right. So he was the first one. If you know the insurance business, it's almost like a pyramid business. If you sell it and I hire you and you sell some, I get some of yours, and I get some of yours, and I get some of yours, and I get some of yours. He became a millionaire after that. Lived in Lebanon, and one day in 1969, there was some people from Lebanon that came to him, and they were looking for some businessmen to start a new venture, and they needed $10,000 apiece, but that's a lot of money. So Bill came in. Again, it was early '69, and talked to my dad. Said, Ralph, said, you're in the restaurant business. Said, we're wanting to start a restaurant in Lebanon. And said, but we need 7 people. We need $70,000, $10,000 apiece. And wanted to ask you if you were interested. And we're wanting to cook old-timey meals like Mama made. You know, cornbread and beans and meatloaf and chicken and dumplings. He loved chicken and dumplings. Ralph said, no, Bill, I'm sorry, I appreciate it, but I just don't. I've got more business than I can stand. We're working ourselves to death. You know, Ralph's was a booming business. It'd take in $500 a day. That was big, 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 big money back then. But anyway, that venture started in '69 right there in Lebanon, and it's now called the Cracker Barrel. And Bill was on the board of directors for years and years. I still have a couple, 3 shares of Cracker Barrel back when I used to get the report on the Cracker Barrels, it'd show all the major stockholders. It was unreal how many hundreds of thousands of shares, because he never sold any of them. So he didn't get to take any of it with him. His kids got it all. I think they enjoyed it while they could. But yeah, he started that, and just all the right things at the right time. And there was another business, I can't think now what it was. There was 3 different businesses that he got in on the ground floor and served on the board of directors for years and years. And I know he always had a membership card. When he'd come in, we'd go to Cracker Barrel. And, when George Treadway was up there, y'all remember George? Well, George Treadway's mother and daddy had a double wedding with Bill and June.
Oh,
and so that's how
fun.
George got his job at the Cracker Barrel, was through Uncle Bill. And so that.
Double weddings used to be. I mean, have you ever even heard of a double wedding? It used to be a thing. No, people would not do that now.
No, would not.
Because it would take some of the limelight off of.
Yeah. But I remember Bill had a. I forgot what kind of card it was. It was free, and whenever he'd come and show that at the Harriman, everybody kind of stopped. Didn't know who he was until they came in. Just a little story about him. He was complaining about, at that time, all of his brothers and sisters were alive, and we had the Holiday Inn in Harriman that had a restaurant. I don't know if you remember that or not, but had a restaurant before they tore it all down. And Uncle Bill was complaining to his siblings, but we never get together, we don't do this, we don't do that, we need to have family reunions, we need to have during birthday. So long story short, it was Bill's birthday. So he said, we're coming to eat, and we're going to the Holiday Inn. Well, needless to say, they didn't know what was fixed to happen next. When they all came in, they were all sitting around the tables, and they all had placemats with their names, and in front of it there was an envelope with a set of keys on top of it. And Uncle Bill had bought each one of them a car and had them hauled in, bought them from a place in Lebanon. I think he may have owned partnership in the Lebanon distributor, the car dealership. And there was a big car hauling unit sitting in the parking lot.
Oh my goodness.
Everybody got a car, with exception of my Uncle Henry, who they got him a van because he was a wheeler dealer, antique, haul stuff in.
Okay.
So after they got through eating, he told us, all right, you get your keys and let's go outside. And they all had big bows on them. So,
that's so exciting.
That was his birthday present to his brothers and sisters.
That is so cool.
Just so good. So,
yeah.
What time? We're getting old.
Are we?
Yeah. If you can remember all this stuff, that's good.
I remember a few things.
I'm 75 years old.
Yeah.
Who would have ever thought?
And went back to work after retiring?
Just in the last month or so, yeah. I've gone back to mowing down at Riley Creek at the Rome County Park and having the best time.
Well, talk about your career and your retirement then. Let's hear that.
Well, I started out and, I've had I guess I've had so many jobs because I changed so much, and I don't know why I did that. But, I started out, I used to be
Hold on, before we get to ambulance, didn't you used to ride around and sell stuff?
Yeah.
We probably can't talk
Did
about
that start in high school with donuts?
No.
Yeah,
It started right out in 1970s when that started. But I always had to work at the drive-in. Had to work at the drive-in. The Merchants Association, one of the first paying jobs, because drive-in didn't pay nothing other than fringe benefits, was that they hired me as Santa Claus to walk up back when downtown was booming, and the lights went up and down the sidewalks.
Yeah.
They hired me and got a Santa Claus suit, and my job was for however many hours, 4 or 5 hours, and they all stayed open like 8 o'clock. And I had to walk up and down both sides of the street and go into every store. Ho, 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 Merry Christmas, yeah. So that was my first paying job. I made $2.25 an hour. Sold Rockwood Times, bought them for a dime, walked home.
And sold them for 15 cents, right?
Yeah, gave a nickel for them, sold them for a dime. But I had my little route. I would do all those on the way home to Mono Subdivision, where we lived growing up. And Mother and Daddy actually, John Street, Mother and Daddy actually built that house. I mean, dug it, sawed the lumber, hammered the nails, painted it, did it all, with the exception of the electrician work and a little bit of the plumbing work.
Wow.
So that's where we were at. But anyway, I left there and got out of high school, went to work at the hosier mill, around Hosier Mill, because I had relatives there. Me and Wayne Melton, we were the big shots we took care of all the ball boards.
Yeah.
We sold knives. That's where the trading come in. I decided I'd go to Star Sale and I'd take my check. We didn't make about $150 a year, and we'd buy things that men needed that we couldn't mention, and we'd resell them at the hosier mill. I sold yo-yos. I sold pocket knives, punch boards. But we'd go to Brown Ellis auction, and I'd wear a coat, and I'd have the yo-yo sewed inside my coat, so I could open my coat and show the yo-yos. So I had a great variety of ashtrays. I had some of the best ashtrays you ever seen. So I drove by the ambulance service during that time, selling my wares, and I sold them some ashtrays. And they said, we need an ambulance driver. Would you be interested? I went to work at the ambulance service, driving an ambulance. Boy, now that was right up my alley. I could go faster than anybody. I could blow the siren. Really loved that. So I stayed there a couple of years. And Mr. Malacote, what was his name? That used to be a policeman, lived here in Rockwood.
It wasn't Malacote.
Yeah, I believe it was. But anyway, he was the chief deputy under Arnold Clowers years ago. Asked me if I wanted to come work as a policeman. I said, why? And at that time, they had just changed the police department chief in Kingston. So I went to work as a policeman in Kingston. That's when I moved to Kingston in 1971. So got there. That's where I met Jeannie Brown. There's a story if you got time.
Oh, yeah, we have time.
Jeannie worked in the county court clerk's office in the old courthouse. Well, during that time, they built a new courthouse, and she moved into over there with Jim Easter and Fanny Strader. Well, I had on my little Kingston police hat, my little badge, had Tony Brown.
You like those labels.
Yeah, had all that stuff. Today, if I didn't have shirts that had something on them, I wouldn't have any clothes. Everything I've got.
You told a lie.
And I looked for my Rockwood shirt, and I couldn't find it today, or I wore it. But anyway, I had gotten somebody for drunk driving. And back then, you took their driver's license away from them right then.
Okay.
Wrote them a receipt, and you took them to the county court clerk, and they were revoked right then. So I had all this paperwork filled out, had the driver's license, and I go to the window, and there's Jeannie Brown. Cute little girl. Oh, man. Drove a Camaro, a little blue Camaro. I really liked it. So I went in, and I had it all filled out, and I said, here you go, ma'am, I want to turn these driver's license in. I need to get it notarized. And she said, I can't notarize this. I said, well, why not? Well, you've not signed it. I said, yes, ma'am, I have right here. You've got to notarize that in front of me. I can't accept that. So I had to put Tony Brown. I just thought, well, you old witch. I said, you watch this. So I knew that she parked next to the courthouse. And there was an hour parking limit. Needless to say, she got tickets every day for a week. So the chief called me in and said, Jim Easter's called and said, you don't need to be writing them old girls a ticket. Well, she smarted off them, so I had to do away with the tickets. So anyway, that's how we met. So I finally asked her out for a date.
Quite an escalation.
Yeah. And I had a black Buick Regal. And it had so much armor all on it that you couldn't sit in the seat without moving back and forth like this, Good thing they had seat belts. So here I am, a romantic. I bought her one long stem red rose. And so we headed out and gave her that rose, and she gets buckled in. She slides up and down and hits that rose on the dash and pedal falls. Hits that rose on the dash and the pedal falls off. I thought, what's wrong with this crazy woman? No wonder I wrote her ticket. So anyway, we got into it on our first date. And we got to Buttermilk Road. And when we got to Buttermilk Road, she's still holding the stem. And it looked like there was a wedding because all the rose pebbles were in the floorboard. Well, I just turned around, went back home, took her and left her back home. We never made it to Knoxville. So we kissed and made up after that. I sold cars. Where Butch Evans is at, there was a car lot that my uncle had. and it used to be a barber shop. And I was in there, and we got on his phone. We talked and talked. So we kissed and made up.
So let me tell you my favorite Tony and
I'm
Jenny Brown
amazed.
thing. They invited me one time to come have spaghetti. There's a lot of pressure in their house when they ask for spaghetti because they don't like each other's spaghetti, so they would make separate pots.
Yeah.
And when you show up to eat, guess what? They don't tell
You
you
have
who
to eat
says who.
Oh.
You either eat both or you're going to hurt one of their feelings.
Yeah.
And
Because
then you
I
have to
did.
say which one was the best.
That's they're equally good. Never had a bad
Equally
lunch.
good.
Yeah, I did most of the cooking, and just like my
Yeah.
son, he does all the cooking now. I don't know where we get that from, but
I wonder.
You need some of Tony Brown's
I,
cornbread.
I mean,
Highly recommend his
we
cornbread.
we like to cook, so. But yeah, Jeannie Brown, she was and you know, when we met, I would tell her about Ralph and Mary, and you know, that's all I've ever known my mother and daddy is Ralph and Mary, because we were in the restaurant business so long that it was hard to yell, "Hey, Mama," "Hey, Daddy,"
yeah.
and everybody else, you know. So it was just like my grandmother was Miss Heidel, my other grandmother was Katie. My grandfather was Paul. My other grandfather was Albert.
That's funny.
So, you know, we called them all by name. So I kept telling Jeannie Brown, and it's always Jeannie Brown. It's
Yes.
never Jeannie. It's always been
Jeannie
Jeannie Brown.
Brown.
I just visited her at the Graveyard Park came over here, by the way.
Always Jenny Brown.
But I kept telling her about Ralph and Mary, and she thought it was my brothers and sisters. You know, she didn't understand how we were talking to each other. But you were talking about that they cooked at the church too. You know, when they built Ralph was a lifetime deacon at the church. Mary was always very, very, very active in the church. And when they built the new addition that had the gymnasium and they put the kitchen back there, they got Ralph and Mary to say, here's what, and the one thing that they wanted, if you go over there, they've got a grill that rolls up and tilts, just like they had at the middle school, that you could cook anything in, you know, turkeys or anything. So we got to have one of them. Got to have this. Got to have that. So Bill McCullough and Edna, they helped them in there. And again, we had restaurants that complained because the church, they always fed the.
You tell about that one that complained about it.
Yeah, had one that
This is
complained.
hilarious.
Yeah, let me hear it.
We won't mention his name, but Junior McCullough,
Complained about
he complained about his brother Bill.
Bill and Edna were a big part of that.
Yes, Junior was mad at him.
at the church, you know. So, well, it's taking business away from them. But you know, they always had banquets over there and always cooked for the football team, and they enjoyed that so much, you know. I've still got a great old big grill. We cooked 100 and something hamburger steaks on the grill one time for the football team. So they really love that. You know, Ralph went back to work at Walmart. He was a greeter. He retired from Walmart for 20-something years, and he became their go-to person.
I got my first ticket from Sissy Brown.
Sissy Brown.
And I said, I'm going to work with Ralph. She said, he'll understand. Just show him the ticket.
Yeah, Sissy she retired as a highway patrol. You know, they make you retire at a highway patrol if you carry a gun at 62. So she had retired. My nephew was a lieutenant.
Yeah.
He just retired 2 weeks ago. Kerry Hickson. He just retired from the highway patrol.
Sits on the top row
Yeah.
at Civitan Field.
Yeah.
They make
Next
you
to the
retire
Woodies.
when you're 62.
When you're 62, yeah. Mandatory retirement if you carry a gun.
Okay.
Now, if you're in administration or in the office, I don't think they do that. But anyway, back to my career. Left the ambulance service, went to the police department, went to the sheriff's department, went to the Department of Revenue of the state of Tennessee, went to the United States Marshal Service, came back as the election administrator. About 25 or 30 of us got fired on the same day when the legislature changed from Democratic control to Republican control. And so we all knew it was happening. That was on Friday. I'd already had my desk cleaned out and was leaving. I went to work on the next Monday as the park ranger or whatever, the director of the Rome County
voted
Park.
the best park in East Tennessee that one time.
We were voted the best
Actually
park.
defeated the Smoky Mountains in a vote.
At Rome County Park?
Yeah.
Oh, I love
I
Rome
put in
County
the golf,
Park.
the tee,
The little,
disc
Yeah.
golf.
yes.
Put in the fountain, made the what the gardeners take care of now. The little
The
thing
Master
everybody.
Gardeners. I love it. It's
I started
beautiful.
that, built that.
Thank you. I love Roane County Park.
Yeah, yeah. It was so down. We made so much. That was under Mike Farmer as the county executive. So
Had a corn maze one time.
had a corn maze. Had
Behind Roane
haunted
State.
trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, we had a corn maze. Had a helicopter come in that we got the litter grant to pay
Yep.
for, and it said "Keep your own litter free" was what the
With
actual
a T-Dot
maze said,
logo.
Oh,
and it was voted as the most creative use of grant money in the state, and made the front of a
Where was it in the park?
Rome
Behind Rome
State. Oh,
State.
it was at Rome State.
Oh, is it Roane State?
Yeah, out there behind the softball field.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
But like I say, I left there. Dennis Ferguson, we kept it quiet. He ran for road superintendent. I was always active in Dennis's campaigns for his 18-year career. Followed him all over, like a lot of us have.
Yeah.
Don't know if we
can't
were
tell those.
advisors or what. Sometimes he listened, sometimes he didn't. But anyway, went to work for him for about, I guess it was 12 years. But had an accident, broke my back on the job, got knocked in a ditch, and Jeannie Brown left that day and didn't go back. And I tried to make it another month or so, and it wasn't the same. So I've been retired going on 5 years, and last month I went back to work mowing down at the park. So.
And he was umpiring the whole time. When
Yeah,
he was
I
a kid.
umpired a game last night, high school game or middle school game last night. Still umpire. I do about 25, 26 games a year.
Now, what about you and Dixie Youth?
Dixie Youth, Diamond Youth. I am the vice president of Diamond Youth Baseball, which is Dixie Youth Baseball and softball.
Yeah.
And just got elected by the board to be the vice president over all 11 states last year. And I've been serving on that board. This is my 24th year. So.
How many scholarships do you think?
Scholarships,
I guess it's Diamond
okay,
Youth that
Diamond
has
Youth,
given out.
I just mailed those this morning, as a matter of fact.
And let me tell you, he showed me that list one time. I helped sort it. First of all, more kids need to apply. There's a whole bunch that do apply,
Yeah.
but there's so many more that can take advantage of that opportunity.
Yeah. We give away $102,000 scholarships every year. And the state of Tennessee, we give two $1,000 scholarships, and all you've got to have done is played baseball
year.
for Dixie Youth one season.
Yes.
But I presently serve on the city council over in Kingston. I've been doing that for, this will be my 25th year.
He tried to give that up once too and went back.
Yeah, tried to give it up, didn't run again, and they came back and said, well, you need to run again. For the last 2 terms, I've run unopposed. I don't know if that's because I'm doing a good job or if nobody wants to fool with it. I think nobody wants to fool with it, to be honest with you. But I enjoy that. And that's my hobbies. I don't hunt, I don't fish, don't play golf. I do baseball and city council stuff. So.
Watch Matlock and Gunsmoke.
Yeah, Gunsmoke. And,
Matlock.
yeah, I really like Andy Griffith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Still never seen one whole episode of the Andy Griffith Show.
But you know.
What?
I've never seen a whole episode of the Andy Griffith Show.
Oh, man.
What is wrong with you? You are missing out.
You know, I hope that.
Did you not have Ron Treadway for 6th grade math?
I did not. I did not.
had watched
I had Bill Davis. You think we
Okay,
watched
no, you
TV?
did not watch
You know,
TV.
I even make sure my barber, Jamie Davis,
Yes.
cuts my hair. You know, he has the looped Andy Griffith, so I keep going in for Andy Griffith.
It's good.
But you know,
You're missing out, Brian.
I guess my wish, if I had a wish, is that that all the young kids have the same great experience that I had going to Rockwood High School, being part of the Rockwood community. It's home, even though I've been in Kingston longer than I was in Rockwood. And there's a story behind all that too. In all my political careers and the ball games and stuff, I've got enemies. Everybody's got enemies. And the people from Harriman don't like me because I'm from Rockwood. People of Kingston don't like me because I'm from Rockwood. Rockwood don't like me because I live in Kingston. And Harriman don't like me because I'm from Rockwood and live in Kingston. But man, what a great time! I've really been blessed. My health has been pretty well. Had a little bout with
You're a
cancer.
cancer survivor,
Yeah,
Tony.
yeah.
My health's been good. I just had cancer.
Yeah, other than cancer, 8
Get-
years ago, cancer free.
Good.
So
Machine dying on you, stuck upside down.
yeah, got artificial knees and have to use hearing aids anymore. God, just think when we wanted to be 18, then when we wanted to be 21.
I know.
Oh, and something I went through that people don't go that may happen still. We went through the draft. You talk about a scary deal. We all got together and watched the draft with our numbers, and I don't know if it's luck or not, but a lot of our several of our people were killed in Vietnam because that was my class. That was the roughest part of it. It was during 67 through 69, the end of 69. But, we went to, I went to Tennessee Tech. They took me, Mom and Dad took me out to Tennessee Tech when I was young, full of vinegar, didn't know anything. Ralph said, son, we're going to be like the mom and the daddy eagle. Said, we're going to take you over here and we're going to kick you out of the nest and see if you survive. And if you don't survive, we're going to swoop back down and get you. Well, after about a quarter, they swooped down and got me. And then I ran away from home when I was 20 years old.
You ran away when you were 20?
Yeah. Still working at the drive-in. And just fixing to get married. And we were busy. And you were talking about those banana milkshakes. They made those with bananas.
Yes.
Well, we got the bananas from Meredith's that was at south of Rockwood before you get to Green Hills
Next
on
to
the
the
left-hand
purple
side of the
house.
road.
Yeah.
Remember that Miss Meredith got killed there. She was sitting in a chair out front and a car came around that curve and missed the road.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, ran over it. Jean Meredith's mother-in-law.
Yep.
At a grocery store where Mama Miz was at.
Yep.
I just, whew. But anyway, they sent me after bananas. Gave me $2 or $3 get $2 or $3 out of the cash register. Well, I was mad. I ain't going to get them darn bananas. So I got $200 or $300 out of the cash register. Got in my car, went down toward the Meredith, just went right past it, went on up Highway 70, ended up in Cookville. Went to the movies. They got the police. Bill Ghostin was the assistant police chief back then. They had them out looking for me, and Kathy had a date, and she didn't get to go, and grounded her because I ran away from home. Oh, it was also, when we have family reunions, and we always tell the stories around the holiday. That's just like my scar. I've got a scar from here to here that my sister gave me. She tried to kill me when we were young. Mother and Daddy went to the drive-in. We didn't have any babies. They couldn't. So I was the oldest, so I kind of took care of them. And she did something to me, and I did something to her. She come after going to hit me, and I came running through the kitchen and grabbed the door, and she slammed it, and it had a glass window in it, and it went through. I bet you I could have used 10 or 20 stitches. Blood everywhere. We used every towel in the house. Don't tell Mom and Daddy. How could we not tell them? There's not a towel left. There's blood everywhere. The glass is broken. So that's one of the stories. If I don't tell it, they encourage me to tell it. But, golly, what times.
That's hilarious.
And they still live in Glen House. Kathy lives with Mother and helps take care of. Thank you so much. Sissy still lives down on the farm. So good life. The Browns have been part of Rockwood, and they've been good to us.
Yeah.
Well, Tony, you've listened before. Boy, we always ask one question. Nobody knows the answer.
And I don't know.
You can make it up if you want to.
I just don't know. I've thought about it.
You know the question.
Yeah, I've thought about it and thought about it and thought about it. I said, it's always been tigers. I don't know what. And I went back and looked and asked Mother about it. And she couldn't. Well, we were tigers back then too. Now they were different color tigers.
Yes.
Right.
They were black and orange.
Yeah.
Way back before the 50s. And I asked Uncle Bill because he was on the on the state tournament team when Rockwood went in '48.
Yeah.
Was it 48 that they or 49 or something like that? When Rockwood went to the state tournament, because he was on that team. Yeah. So I thought that they may have known after y'all brought it up. So you tell them what's your podcast.
Yeah, Larry Hembry told us to ask Bones.
See Bones, yeah.
But I don't know if he'll know. I don't think he will.
Yeah, I don't think he will.
I don't know if anybody's ever asked the question before. Yeah. Are we the first?
I think so.
Well, if Geraldine didn't remember.
That's what we kind of said.
Miss Wallach doesn't know.
Because it's
unknown.
It's on past. There's not many past her, I guess.
Yeah.
Her and Miss Hegel and Maurice Grieve and all that bunch made it. We always invited them to our class reunions. That one reunion that we had during our 50th, I guess. Right after we had that, Miss Hegel passed and Maurice passed, and just kind of missed off. Y'all had Eddie on already, hadn't you? What a
He was on when we were just doing audio on Spotify.
It's amazing that y'all graduated together. That's amazing.
We were so mean to Eddie. I've apologized. I've apologized to all my class for being such a butthole.
You were just having fun.
We got Eddie's car one time, jacked it up on blocks, and it left it about 2 inches off the ground. We put water in a garbage can, put paper.
Mr. Mason.
Mr. Mason.
I've heard that story. That story lives on.
Yeah, well, it's a true story.
I've heard it.
We sure he lived up in Lakemont Heights or Highland Forest. Lived in Highland Forest, but he'd always get his foot and put it. We had his car towed off one time too. He was looking out the window, and there went his car behind the wrecker. You know,
I wish somebody had done that to Lynn when she was the principal.
No.
Now, were you the principal before Mr. Reed or after Mr. Reed?
After Mr. Reed.
She was hard on him, vicious.
Not directly after him. There was
Kaywood.
Kaywood, and then me.
Yeah, Kaywood moved to Midway.
She was hard, strict, disciplinary.
I'm
You
Now,
gonna
what
deny
were y'all
any of
doing?
those?
strict.
You gonna deny any of those?
No.
Now, what
Not
will y'all
gonna
do
deny.
with your podcast? Are you going to archive them somewhere or put them in the library?
Well, we're hoping YouTube and Spotify are archiving them for us.
Yeah, because if we'd had stuff like this back,
Yes.
has anybody talked about the centennial that we had?
We're
We
gonna do it.
We talked to Jim Cooley
Yeah.
about it.
Yeah, we had
and
that. Oh, you talking about a production? They hired a production guy to come in, and that was a big deal. You know, we had 300 people on the football field singing songs and dancing and beards and.
So it was in '68. You would have very clear memories of that. We may need a Tony Brown part 2.
We need to get a bunch of people together for the 68 to talk about the centennial.
Yeah, but that was that was all over town.
That's amazing.
Had
You couldn't do
wooden
that today.
No.
Nobody'd want to do it.
No, nobody'd want to do it. No.
Yeah, there's.
And you can see it when we have parades, difference in crowds,
Yeah.
It was just a different time. There was
less to do.
You know, they're bringing.
less to do, and there was more
You spend more time together.
tradition
Yes.
and
Yes.
commitment to your community.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, like on Saturdays, as my grandmother said, let's go to town and trade. Town was full. I mean, there was a men's shop. Little town like Rockwood had an exclusive men's shop.
Even when we first moved here, we always shopped on Saturdays.
Yeah,
That's just what everybody
had
did.
2 drugstores, had a movie theater, had a hotel. I can remember we all.
And
came
Leanne's
out
been
and
in all
watched
13 swimming pools the city had.
We've not had 13 swimming pools.
But she's been in every one the city has had.
We
Look, here we
had
go.
Heron,
So here we go. We're going to hear about it.
Heron Motel,
Yeah, you used to own that.
and then
Yeah, you did.
NBC Properties.
Yeah.
okay, and then then the country club had a swimming pool, and then
See,
in
here
the
we go.
community center. But that was towards the end.
And they've all got covered up.
And they're all filled in.
Maybe you're the problem. Every pool you got is.
everyone. Boy, that country club, you talking about Swazi.
Yeah, it's nice.
Were you something or something if you could afford to be I'm a member of
I'm
a
a
country
member of the
club.
country club.
Yeah, I get to go swim.
That's all she magically she said that when they'd take the turn, she was always out
So
in the
when
pool.
the guys would take the turn for play 9 and then going back on their back 9,
It was time to get out of the pool.
That was snack time. We would all come to the breezeway and
Gene Miller was out there
yeah.
as a person. And Miller, Ratchet, just retired
Yes.
a month or so ago.
Yeah.
I wonder if he'll stay retired.
I don't know.
I find that hard to believe.
They go eat somewhere every night. They
Yes.
don't ever cook since they've been used to cooking so much. He always puts on Facebook where they're eating at, and it's always always a different place. If you ever go to the cave in behind the golf course,
You mean the cave by number 1 Green? What are you talking about?
there's
Is
a
that what you're-
cave back there that
Meant to talk to Larry Henry
here we
about
go.
that. No, I was too scared to go back in there, but I remember it.
there was water that came through that went on Post Oak. And
That's
there
what
was
Larry said, that you could go all the way back
through and come
you
out
end
to
up in
Post Oak, and there was a catfish farm there and a trout farm. And
That's something.
And that water came in and they dammed it all up, and you can still see where it's
So if
at.
I'm on Post Oak, where's that trout farm? Would it have been?
You go past Dan Circle, it'd be the next house on the right.
I've got a lot of driving
Tweeds.
around to do today.
Tweed used to live in the
Yes.
next house.
Yes.
David Tweed used to live in the next
Yes.
house.
Oh, okay. We need to wrap up.
Oh, I've
Okay.
This
talked
has
y'all's
been
ear
so
off.
much fun.
Yeah, I've talked your
Seriously,
ear off.
part 2. We need it. This has been.
Next time, next time you can cook for us.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're fans.
We'll put it good.
You can do it.
But I'm accustomed to all this
Yes.
lights, camera, and action.
Yeah.
We
Well, you're a
started-
natural for sure.
We started BBB Communications. That was Brown, Berry, and Bowman.
Okay.
And he's got a swimming pool, and we bought him out, gave him $10,000, and he put in a swimming pool.
Have you swam in Bowman
I
swimming
have
pool?
not.
So let's call Keaton. Let's see if we can
Yeah,
get
we'll
that
call
taken. See if we
Keaton.
can get that taken care of.
We can fix
But-
it today.
But another show, talk about the commodities. I can remember the commodity days when they gave them, and Bowman brought it up because that used to be the co-op. The old
Yeah.
big building across used to be the co-op. And that's where you go get your cheese and your peanut butter. Then they moved it to the armory.
Yes.
But the old commodity days, the old commissary.
I used to volunteer at
Leo's-
Bowman when they handed them out.
Yeah, and the
were-
little
We
beer,
went to the
the little
armory.
beer stores. Can you imagine how many
Remember-
beer joints we had years ago?
On King Avenue, I remember
Oh,
Maud's.
look, she says, hold on, let me get my list
No,
out.
I just remember it was called Maud's
Yeah.
on Kingston Avenue because I
Malls,
just,
after like the TV show.
yeah.
The Hickey stores. You needed
Did they sell beer at the Hickey stores?
No.
No. Okay, we're not
But
talking
they
about
were-
beer now. We're talking.
Well, the little beer stores. What made me reminded of that is that if you left the old furnace and came back, there was at least 4 little places at the corner places that sold beer because they would all walk
Yes.
because they lived in the
Yes.
company houses. And my grandfather was a crane operator, and they came from Wrigley, Tennessee, with the Tennessee Products that had a place, and they quit making the pig iron. They made the old beer, and we'd go watch them. They'd dump that old pig iron. You couldn't never get by with that anymore.
No.
On the side of that,
No.
on the side of the mountain over here,
Yes.
like going to Horsehead, and you could watch it glow, and you could hear it hit. And all that. That's way before our own electric furnace. Just big deals.
Well, Tony, we thank you.
I think I lost my microphone.
Has he lost his mic?
Just now.
Yeah, it fell off.
It's a sign.
Oh wait, we gotta redo all this. My microphone didn't work.
Oh, but thank you, Tony. Well, I'm sure we'll have you on again.
Okay, good.
Because
Yeah,
we
this
just
has been
scratched the
great.
surface.
I enjoyed it.
Continue on this journey with us as we tell the story of Rockwood, the story of us.